Sky's the limit, the truth is on our side. There's no time for worry, let's show the world our pride. Whether another comes up with a surprise, we all will discover where our fate will lie. On a blue wave, we rise to save the day. Only me, only you can let our hearts sail away on a blue wave.
And welcome to TruBlu Politics Podcast, episode 67. I am joined today by my co-host, Anita. Hi, Anita.
Hi, Karen.
So today...
it's episode 67, and I was just like, 067.
67, exactly. So today, Anita and I are honored to be joined in conversation with Chris Kluwe, former NFL punter, LGBTQIA+ ally and advocate, family man, and candidate for the California Assembly. So that is AD 72 in Orange County. Chris, welcome to TruBlu Politics Podcast.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So we first I'll speak for myself. I first became really aware of you listening to Stephanie Miller.
Okay.
And I remember when Prop 8 was a thing and, you know, you were kind of involved in that, like writing an amicus brief to the Supreme Court there to overturn Prop 8.
For a Bergethel. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of course, they put it on the ballot and Prop 8 won 52%, I think I read. And then of course, you did your thing and were able to get it reinstated in California.
Yeah. So it's so I initially started speaking out for LGBTQ rights in Minnesota when I was playing with the Vikings, because the group that had passed Prop 8 had been going around the country trying to pass it in other states, and they'd been very successful. I think they'd succeeded in like 28 states at that point. And so they'd come to Minnesota to try to pass the same state constitutional amendment banning same-sex marriage. And a group asked me if I would like to get involved in defeating it. They'd seen my social media and said, we think this would be something that you'd be interested in. And I thought to myself, yeah, I think I would be interested in helping defeat this amendment, because I don't think we should be enshrining discrimination and bigotry into state constitutions. I think that's a good idea, right? So we defeated it in Minnesota, and then 6 months later, Bergethel passed, and same-sex marriage was federally legal.
Yeah.
Who was that group that was running around the country trying to ban same-sex marriage?
I don't remember their exact name, because they kept changing their name too, right? So that way, they're trying to slip under the radar. The group I was working with was Minnesotans for Marriage Equality. So they just wanted to protect marriage rights for everyone, and it's a really simple concept when you think about it. Like, American citizens who pay taxes, who serve in the military, do everything you're supposed to do, but it should also be allowed to benefit from marriage benefits.
It always seems simple to me, but at that time, if you remember, they were saying the craziest stuff, like if we passed same-sex marriage, that it was going to ruin other people's marriages. It was going to do all these horrible things. Right. And I was like, I don't think so, unless
there's a closeted partner, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
It didn't make any sense, but I can remember that debate.
Yeah, no, it's... Well, and we're seeing the same thing happening right now with trans rights. Right? Because the Republicans, the right wing, like, they've seen that they can't win on same-sex marriage, and so now they're shifting to a smaller target, which is trans rights, and which makes it incumbent upon the rest of us to speak out and say, we know what you're doing. Like, we see the playbook you're running. We're not going to allow you to target vulnerable groups to try to drive a wedge between us. We need to protect everyone, because that's what America is about. Everyone has the same rights and the same equality.
Yeah.
Karen has a son, a transgender son.
Yeah, who's trans, and he came out at the age of 16, and now he is 29. You know, so it is, of course, so grateful that I live in Illinois, where,
Hmm.
you know, our governor is actually doing a lot of work to protect the LGBTQIA community, and particularly trans
Hmm.
individuals. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like you say, they always are consistently trying to shift, you know, shift the wedge issues, right? Put
Hmm.
wedge issues in there to divide all of us, when in actuality, the majority of Americans haven't met a trans person, or don't
Hmm.
know that they've met a trans person, because,
Right.
you know,
Well, it doesn't affect them either. I
right.
Right.
mean,
Exactly.
yeah, they like this whole debate about women in men's sports, because trans, I guess it's trans women in men in no trans
Trans
women,
women in
trans
women's
women in
sports.
women's
Yes.
sports.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I mean, there's like how many athletes that are trans women? They said there's less than 10.
Yeah, in
So
college, I think it's like
yeah,
barely double digits. Like it
yeah,
Right.
is
I know.
complete
So I
non-issue.
mean, it's just yeah. So nobody's affected by this. I don't know. I don't think it's, and honestly, right now, I don't think this is what people were voting on anyway. Even
Right. Exactly.
yeah, and we,
Yeah,
even though they
exactly.
were,
And
go ahead.
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
That's
It's
okay.
Yeah, well, and what we're seeing is like the only reason they keep pushing this stuff is because they know they can't win on economics because they're driving the economy into a crater. Like they can't run on public policy because they haven't passed anything. Like
Hmm.
Congress has done nothing, you know,
Yep.
in the entirety of the Trump administration. So the only thing they have is culture war nonsense, and like
Oh,
Right.
that's the only thing they know how to do.
they have their big beautiful bill that everybody hates.
Sure, that everybody
Right?
is benefiting from.
Yeah,
I
all the
mean,
Not.
billionaires I know are benefiting from it.
Exactly.
I really don't think people are going to care about trans issues. This right now, like you said, the economy is in the shitter. We're at war, another stupid Middle East war. People are being kidnapped off our streets right now, and being shot in the streets of our country in Minnesota. So I don't think that people are going to be focused on, something like trans issue. I just don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to play this time. I really don't. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so many other things. I mean, we have here in Chicago, we're definitely feeling the effects of climate change, which I know is one of your big issues. You know, I mean, we've had property damage all over the place this summer because of the severe
Mhm.
weather that we've had here. So, you know, if you want to speak a little bit to that, because I know it is one of your big issues.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So climate change, I mean, obviously it's a societal issue, right? Like this is a disaster that we're dealing with on a global basis. And so we're having to deal with it in specific parts of the country in different ways, right? So like I think I saw Chicago got hit by like really massive like winds, tornadoes on some very severe weather
Yes.
recently. Right. And here on California, we're seeing, you know, massive heat waves and then massive flooding. A couple of years ago, we had a tropical storm hit the coast. So it was a hurricane that had downgraded to a tropical storm by the time it hit. Um, the West Coast is not prepared for hurricanes to hit
Mm-mm.
the coast. Like
No.
that's not
No.
really a thing that normally happens. But now there's more energy in the system, and so yeah, it's an existential crisis for us as human beings, and we really do need to address it because we've set this gigantic engine into motion, and it's just revving up. Like the stuff we're
Yeah.
seeing now is the initial effects of climate change, and it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse unless we do something about it. And
I mean,
the sorry, go
that
ahead.
issue, no, that issue just scares the crap out of me, honestly, climate change, because we're not just not doing anything, we're making it worse.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen
And,
it. I mean, I live in Texas. It's very, very hot, and every year it seems to be hotter. And we saw the flooding in the hill country where all those people died, those girls
mm-hmm.
at the summer camp. So yeah, we're seeing the effects of it. And we're still, I mean, right now, Donald Trump is just like doing, like getting rid of that windmill thing that with
Right.
yeah, I mean, just crazy stuff. So it just, and destroying Big Bend National Park, just all kinds of things. Our national parks. He's allowing them to drill for oil.
Sure. What about
Mm-hmm.
the Boundary Water Canoe area, which Chris,
Yeah.
I know you're
Mm-hmm.
familiar with, having been in
Yep.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
So what do
Well,
you
he's also
think?
trying to.
Well,
Sorry.
no, we are making it worse. Do you think that we can actually recover from this kind of, I mean, setback having Donald Trump in office and doing this much damage?
Yeah, actually, I do, because we've faced we faced climate disasters before. Probably the one that's closest to this on scale, but maybe not quite as big, was the hole in the ozone layer. Right.
Yeah.
So remember back in like the 80s, 90s, like
Mm-hmm.
that was a really big deal. But the world came together and say, hey, we're not going to use CFCs anymore.
We had H.W. Bush, who actually believed in science.
Right, yeah, and but that's the thing, is that we can work together. We can fix stuff like this. And then I will say, one of the unexpected silver linings of Trump's idiotic war with Iran is that it has really pushed green energy forward.
I know, right? People are looking, hey, we need to look further at more green energy. True.
Right?
And get off of these fossil fuels. Yeah.
Yeah, they're realizing, if Iran can just shut down the Strait of Hormuz whenever they want, we need to be moving to other sources of energy.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to ask you, can I just ask you something? I know this is kind of a non sequitur, but what exactly got you into being politically active? Were your parents politically active? Or...
Oh, no, not at all.
No.
Growing up, my parents never talked politics at the dinner table. It was very very much that kind of like Orange County, Southern California, like just don't think or talk about the government. Just hopefully it works all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I think a lot of it was just due to reading. I read a lot of books. I like to pay attention, to what's going on. And then going to college at UCLA really helped a lot, exposed me to a lot of different ideas and different people. And maybe just being curious, right? Like being inquisitive about the state of the world and wondering, okay, what does this mean? Like, what are the facts? What are the reasoning behind, what people are saying? And, and I also majored in history and poli-sci in college. So that probably had a bit to do with it.
My son was a jock and he played baseball through college. And he read a lot too. He's also, but I indoctrinated him into being a progressive. Just like that's what Karen knows. She did the same thing with her kids.
Yes.
But yeah, and I've always been politically active, and we've always talked politics. And so my kids, grew up listening to that and knowing what was going on in the world. But I remember when he was, he would tell me traveling with the team and stuff when he played baseball in college, he would be reading a book or, and the other jocks. I mean, he just felt a little bit different than the rest of them. Did you feel that way?
Oh, absolutely. Like I was a huge nerd growing up and still am. Like I loved reading sci-fi fantasy, played video games all the time, played tabletop miniature games. And, I grew up in the, late 80s, early 90s, where there still very much was that jock geek divide. And it never made sense to me because it's like, why can't I do both of these things? And thankfully, it seems that we've turned the corner a bit on that. I mean, that it's still there still is a little bit of that, but it's much more likely now, that the kids will have grown up, having electronics in the house, playing video games, like understanding like nerd culture. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's just everyone has a hobby. Like why try to put someone else's hobby down if you don't understand it? Just accept that, that's what they're interested in. It may not be the same thing that you're interested in, but we can all have our own hobbies. We can all do our own things. And to touch briefly just a little bit on, kind of why I think certain people awaken to politics, right? It's that I think if you're honest with yourself, that like and you do have to be honest with yourself if you want to be a professional athlete, because you have to know when you're messing up, right? So that way you know how to fix it.
Right.
But if you can be honest with yourself and actually look at the world and look at how people are being treated and look at the conditions they're in, then you'll recognize, hey, this system isn't working to benefit everyone. As a straight white male, the system is working to benefit me. Like that's what the system is there for.
It's basically designed to work for you.
Yeah. Acknowledging like, that is huge, right?
Right. And that doesn't take anything away from my own efforts. It's just me recognizing, there are certain advantages that are structurally inbuilt into the system. And then if you are a competitor, you want to change the system so that way when you beat someone, you beat them at their best. Like you weren't racing someone with 10-pound weights on their ankles.
Yeah. Now you're running for the California Assembly, and I was just telling Karen how much, I kind of admire that, because nowadays you're seeing these people, and you have some name recognition, and a lot of these people are starting out by like running for senator, right? And you're actually like learning the ropes. Do you plan to run for higher office after this, or do you just something that you want to do? Just
So I've never had political aspirations. I was very happily retired. That's the stay at
yeah.
home dad. And unfortunately, so in our area, we have my city has a very hardcore MAGA city council. So all 7 city council members are just hardcore MAGA, and they've been kind of shredding our city, and it's not been good. And one of them is running for this assembly seat.
Yes.
And so when I saw that she was running for the seat, I was like, I do not want more MAGA politics in our country, because we've seen that it is fundamentally anti-democratic. Like it is against democracy as an idea. And
No, it's
also
fascist.
right, and it's ruining our country. Like our economy is in shambles right now. It's getting tougher and tougher for people to thrive and survive. Like our food, it seems like every other day, some
Oh my
some new
God,
food
blueberries,
could kill you.
jalapenos. The
Right?
blueberry thing, they're
Blueberries
saying it
now.
could kill
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like this is what MAGA politics does, because it's inherently a corrupt system. And so
That's right. Corruption.
and so yeah,
Go ahead.
like yeah, and so when I got arrested for protesting a MAGA plaque that they wanted to put on our central library in Huntington Beach, that was last year. A lot of people asked me, hey, when are you going to run for something? We want to vote for you. We want to canvass for you. And I talked to our local Democratic committee, and I asked, hey, is there anyone running for this seat? Because if there is, I'm going to support them. Like I want them to beat this, this city council member that we have. And they told me, nope, no one's running. You should do it.
So that's it. Yeah.
By the way, we all saw that. We all saw you get arrested. That went viral, and we admired you so much. You have so much courage. You are just a poster child, a poster man for
I'm still
getting for getting in good trouble.
Yes.
John Lewis talked about.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the time, so that this was back in last February, one of the big reasons why I did it was because I saw our elected officials, they weren't really doing anything. Like this was back when, Doge was going through Treasury and Social Security, and no one was standing up to them.
Yeah.
And that's the job, right? Like if you're a democratically elected official, your job is to provide oversight, make sure that someone is not ruining other people's lives. And no one was willing to step up and do that. And I'm not going to expect someone to do something I'm not willing to do myself. So it's like, all right, well, John Lewis caused trouble.
What is Timothy Snyder on tyranny when he talks about don't obey in advance?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And so you took that to heart. And
yeah. Well, and one of the things that I think that this era should teach us is that, Anita and I, we were indoctrinated into Democratic politics, right?
We had no choice.
Hardcore. And then we're raising our kids. But one of the things that I feel like this era is showing us is just how this really does go back decades with the Republicans and, wanting to deregulate and, basically just no accountability. Right, for wrongdoers. And so it feels like everything that we're seeing right now is almost like a culmination of years and years of Republican policy, just basically, and Donald Trump is now, their figurehead. But it just feels as though like we are here just because of that, and that now we're seeing with the massive storms, the global warming, and the shortages of food, because it's all related.
It's a culmination of it.
Yeah, the tariffs, the everything. Now here we are, and how do we get out of it? And I think that the answer is through people like you stepping up.
That's right.
Yeah, and so one of the other things we also have to bear in mind too, right, is that this didn't happen overnight. Like this, this was a progressive series of small changes that happened over a long period of time. And the thing is that the Democratic establishment also bears a portion of that blame, because no one was willing to step up, right? No one was willing to say, we're going to hold the rich and wealthy accountable, because they were benefiting from it. I mean, the fact that we have yet to pass an insider trading bill for Congress blows my mind, because that is just flat out corruption. And so the thing I'm telling people is that, like, yeah, I have a ton of problems with the Republican Party. Like, don't get me wrong, they're the instigators of a lot of this. But I also have a lot of issues with the Democratic Party, because these are the people that were in charge. They were still in charge. They're the ones who led us here. And what they did empirically does not work, because it led us to Donald Trump. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot more progressive candidates, win their primaries, because people understand that at a visceral level, that your government is supposed to work for you. It's not supposed to work to benefit wealthy individuals or private corporations. Like that's not the role of government. The role of government is to provide a level playing field for every single person in the country. And we've seen that has been fundamentally broken. And that was part of Donald Trump's appeal, right? Like, he's saying the government doesn't work for you. And unfortunately, he was correct.
But the government doesn't work for us because of Republicans. That you're blaming the Democratic Party, and I'm not really sure what your definition of the establishment is. Yeah, but I look at it as Democratic. What bothers me is Democrats that are Republican appeasers. Right, go along with Republicans.
Yeah,
right, and that's what I mean by the establishment is that the corporate / moderate Dems who, instead of doing something unpopular that might cost them their job because they want to keep their job, right? They appease the Republicans. They won't stand up to have that fight. Right. People like Chuck Schumer, right? Who did don't get me wrong, Chuck Schumer has done some good stuff over his career, but when it came time to actually fight and stand up for what was going to protect people, he just rolled over. I mean, we're seeing the same thing from Hakeem Jeffries. Yeah, like right now, we need people who are willing to fight. Like we are in a wartime footing. It's not yet a hot shooting war, but there have already been people killed. If you look at Republican policies, there's been millions of people killed over the years just due to their stances on, poverty and crime. Yeah. But like we need people who are willing to stand up and take those unpopular stances.
And you can't give Republicans the benefit of the doubt. They have exposed themselves for who they really are.
Right.
Yeah, and not anymore. Absolutely not. Because all it would take is 10 Republicans saying we do not agree with what Donald Trump is doing.
That's right.
And they could stop this in an instant.
They sure could.
I mean, John Cornyn, Bill Cassidy, Donald Trump humiliated them. And what did they do? They voted for his personal attorney to be attorney general. Mm-hmm. They just laid down. I mean, there is no hope for them.
Yeah.
For the Republicans.
Right. And so ideally, what we'll see is that the Republican Party will hopefully fade away, and the next political parties that we'll have will be a clash between the progressive left wing of the Democratic Party
I've always
and the more moderate wing.
Yeah,
I used to tell Karen it's going to be the Bernie Sanders wing versus the Hillary Clinton wing,
right?
Or something.
And that's
like
what it should be. That would be much more healthy because at least there's two groups that actually do care about goals. Doing. Right. For people, it's just how do we get there, right?
That's
and it just, I totally agree.
And what's crazy, like if you look back in history, currently what we would call the moderate Democratic wing, like the Hillary Clinton wing, as you referenced, would have been Republicans back in the 60s and 70s.
Oh, I know. In the 50s. Look at the Republican platform from 1954. It's crazy.
With Eisenhower,
Eisenhower, they're pro-union, pro-civil rights, all of that.
Yeah, but, we have to get back to the idea that like we are all Americans together. It's not an us versus them. Like we can agree and disagree on certain things, but we have to be able to agree that we're a democracy and that we live in the same country together.
That's right.
This, along with all future episodes of TruBlu Politics, are sponsored by our wonderful TruBlu crew listeners and our supporters on Patreon. As a small startup podcast, our Patreon members help us pay the bills to keep the lights on and also allow us to keep investing in equipment upgrades for even better quality content in the future. We know that monthly budgets are tight right now due to Trump's and the Republicans' unnecessary tariffs and endless wars, so we have changed our membership fees to monthly donations. Whether you are a paid subscriber or just want to come to hear progressive voices and for community, all are welcome at any level. If you subscribe monthly at the cup of coffee level, that is so appreciated but not necessary. Whether $1, $5, or more, anything is welcome but not required. Anita and I also have some exciting news to share. A few weeks ago, we began recording TBP daily videocasts, which you can find on our YouTube channel, TruBlu Politics. Please like and smash that subscribe button. Or listen on my Substack page, Resistance Journal, or on our Patreon page, along with all of our bi-weekly podcasts. Go to patreon.com/TruBlu Politics Podcast. Of course, you can always listen to the bi-weekly podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, thanks so much for your love and support. Thank you, everybody. This episode is brought to you by Terra Threads. That's Terra like the earth and threads like clothing. Terra Threads is an online shop for secondhand and vintage clothing and footwear. Every piece handpicked and given a second life. Beautiful one-of-a-kind finds, great prices, and a little kinder to the planet than buying new, and bonus, no tariffs. And now, TruBlu listeners get 25% off any order. Just use the code TruBlu25 at checkout. That's TRUBLU, followed by the number 25, all one word, TruBlu25. You can shop on eBay by going to bit.ly/TerraThreads eBay. That's bit.ly/Terra, TERRA, Threads eBay, all one word. Or on Etsy at bit.ly/TerraThreads Etsy. Same start, bit.ly/Terra, TERRA, Threads Etsy. Both links are in the episode description too. Refresh your wardrobe with something one of a kind. That's Terra Threads. Well, and we have to agree on the facts too. Like we're in a place where it's, fake news, and then, we talk about, the right wing media infrastructure that is so powerful, disproportionately, leaning towards the right wing, and you have Fox News Channel that's not really a news channel, but, they get to claim and then they get to propagandize to, people. And what is it, it's over 90% of our media is owned by right wing entities.
And that's the problem.
That is I think that is also an issue and a challenge for the Democratic Party to be able to message clearly.
And so when we hear Democrats aren't messaging right. Well, the problem is we don't have a 24/7 propaganda machine. Republicans have multiple propaganda machines. And it's corporate media.
Well, and so that gets back to my initial point on the issues that I have with the Democratic Party and how we have gotten to this point is that we have anti-monopoly laws in this country. That the FCC has anti-monopoly broadcasting laws. We could have been taxing billionaires a lot higher in order to prevent them from accumulating this kind of power. But because it causes people to lose, high value donors to their campaigns. We haven't had politicians that were willing to prevent those tiny little steps that have led us to this current point. So, the road to hell is
get money out of politics,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
But see, this is what Anita and I talk about all the time. We have to get a super majority because, you look at, after the pandemic and we had Build Back Better. Not one Republican voted for that. So it's like it would be we have to get to that place like we were talking about where you have the moderate Democratic mentality and the more progressive to kind of come together and get those things done. I think as long as we have the Republican Party as it exists, we're not, because none of them will step up and do the right thing.
Right.
And we have a pretty aggressive, a plan for Democrats. If we ever get back in power, we have to reform the Supreme Court. The first thing we need to do, probably make it bigger. What else? And the filibuster, make DC and Puerto Rico states. All of these things could be done, and then we could get these big things done, like you're talking about. But we can't do that unless we get power.
Right, exactly. And I think the midterms are shaping up to where, people are understanding just how important this is. I think we've seen that, both with the special elections that have been held as well as what's going on in the primaries in various areas. But the thing is that when we do get power, we have to commit, right? Because that's been a problem for the party is they've done small issues, right? But they haven't committed to going all the way. And so when I say, we have to be willing to commit, we have to be looking at something like a Truth and Reconciliation Committee or Nuremberg style trials. And that doesn't and for any conservatives or Republicans who happen to be listening to this, that doesn't mean we're instantaneously putting people to death. It means we are holding people accountable and we're figuring out who drove this fascist movement in our country. And then we're going to make sure that it can't happen again. That means probably locking up some very rich and powerful people for a very long period of time because they have shown they cannot be trusted with power. And
Yeah.
we have to make sure they never get it again.
We like to call them the Epstein class.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. The Epstein class in
we-
particular. Yes.
Yeah, Democrats need to remember how to wield power and just
Mhm.
actually use it.
Yes.
Yep.
And when Obama came in, when Obama came in and he had that he had that filibuster-proof majority for a very short period of time, true.
Mhm.
But I mean, nowadays, what I would, give for that, just for that small period of time, and what Democrats could do with that. And he tried too hard to work with Republicans. He was like, when we were trying to pass the Affordable Care Act, we couldn't get a public option because, Lieberman or whatever. He should have just shoved that stuff through. He should not have taken the time to try to get every Republican's ideas. Who, by the way, no Republican voted for that in the end.
Right.
And
They were happy to take credit for it, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they were able to make 108 changes to it before, but then it was passed in the cover of darkness, right?
That's what they do. I mean, they're always it's always projection with them.
Yeah, well, and I think that is one of the frustrations for, us too, is that, when you say, well, we can't do it because if we do it, then they're going to do it. It's like, finally, I feel like the Democrats are starting to understand they're going to do it.
They're going to do it. And they're not going to do it. You're not going to get rid of the filibuster because it benefits them. They want the filibuster to stay in place because there's a lot of things they have excuses for not doing. And I mean, they use that as an excuse for not doing certain things that their base wants them to do, which is crazy, which would probably hurt the economy. And, go ahead.
And so like for me personally, like I love Michelle Obama. I think she's a fantastic human being. Lovely. But the idea that when they go low, we go high. It's like, no, when they go low, we go even lower and kick the shit out of them so they never try to go low again.
I think she's taking that back. I think she's taking that back.
She has walked that back, yes.
Yeah.
That's some football energy going on right there.
Right? Yeah, no, and it really is. It's like we are the people who want to abide by the rules. Like that's what we are about. Like that's what society is supposed to be. But if someone else decides that they are not going to abide by the rules, well, then we have to stop affording them the protection of the rules. They have already broken the social contract. And if you decide to break the social contract, well, guess what? We're going to do whatever it takes to bring the social contract back. And you're probably not going to like it.
Right.
They just don't believe in democracy.
No.
It's not working for them anymore.
Well, and I love the response by Gavin Newsom after the Texas legislature gerrymandered the shit out of, did the redistricting. And he said, okay, we're going to play by that same set of rules then. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do it here. I think that is, I feel like
it's a first step.
More. It is a first step, and it's more and more.
Right.
It's, like with some of these elections, with Abdul El Sayed, with Mandani, I mean, we have to be fearless and we have to go for big things and be bold, right? And not worry about what they're going to say.
Right. They're going to say it regardless. Whatever we do, they are going to call us, communists, anti-American,
socialists.
Right.
They called
whatever
Obama
it happens
communist.
to be. Like it does not matter what objective reality is. They're going to attack us anyways. So just accept it at this point. Just accept that, they're going to say stupid shit. And we just have to be able to say, nope, that is wrong. We are here to fix people's lives. And you know what? Your track record is there. You have broken everything.
Yep.
So hopefully we can get enough people to understand that.
I think so. I think people are starting to understand it. I think a lot of people are waking up. I was telling Karen, my neighbor, who is a triple Trumper MAGA, she's like, she didn't want to talk about the news anymore. She doesn't want to watch it. She called Donald Trump a bastard. She's very upset.
Weird when it starts affecting your bank account. All of a sudden,
trans people aren't so scary.
No.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it's just funny, and you see this in the polling, and look at, I was just listening to this thing. They were talking about Hoover, the president, the former president during the Depression. During the crash and everything. His approval rating, right in 1932, right before the crash, was 33%.
Yep.
33%. My point is that, Donald Trump's at 32% right now. I just think there is a certain segment of our population that they're just not going to let go. They just can't admit it.
Right.
Or At least they're not going to tell
Yeah,
the
yeah, no,
pollster.
I think it's so there's actually a name for that. It's like the crazification factor or something like that. And it says
Yeah.
that about 31 to 32% of the country is just crazy. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
like you're never gonna breach that floor, right? Like it's right around that 32, 33% is the floor where those people are gonna support him no matter what. And so the rest of us, that other,
Yeah. The
67,
rest of us are like, what the hell
68%,
is wrong? Yeah.
yeah, we need to show up and be the adults in the room and
Yep.
say, look, like you people are insane.
You guys are
Yeah.
running with
breaking everything.
knives. Yeah, you're
Well,
running
actually,
with
during the
knives. You need therapy.
Yeah.
during the financial crisis in 2008, George Bush was running about 32%. When Donald Trump, right after January 6th, Donald Trump was at running about 32%. There is the portion of the American population that's just crazy. There's just nothing we can do about them. They're batshit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
pretty much have to ignore them.
Yeah, no, well, so the thing is too is we need people, we need to convince the third of the country that doesn't show up for elections.
Yes.
We need to be able to convince them to show up, because then that mitigates that problem, right? Like in the last general election, a third of the country just decided not to vote, and that's a huge problem. Like
That is a huge problem.
Right. And to solve that, we need to do like what Mamdani is doing in New York. And we need to show people that government can work for you and it can do good things for you. And that Congress should be passing legislation, not just endlessly arguing and going on break. Like
but the problem is this: when we're not in power, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Now, we should have gotten rid of the filibuster. I think the child tax credit was showing people that government can do good things for you.
Yeah.
And that ended because no Republicans would vote for it. We should have ended the filibuster. But of course, we had Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema, who wouldn't go along with that. But the point is, we need to get in power so we can show them that government can do good things for you.
Yeah.
We can't do that. We can't right now. The only thing we can do after the midterms is kind of stop the bleeding.
Yeah. We need a Fetterman-proof majority.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, we do, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
well, Chris, I had a question here. You have stated that you are not a politician, but that you want to make sense of everyday things that specifically affect residents of Huntington Beach. So in the process of running to serve AD 72, what are some of the everyday things that your future constituents that you have spoken to in the course of, campaigning and canvassing? What are they telling you that they want?
Yeah, so a couple big things. The first one obviously is affordability. California is facing an affordability crisis right now, and that's a big part of it is housing. But another big part of that is grocery bills, energy bills, right? The everyday day-to-day stuff that you need to get by. And so in terms of the housing, like when I've been talking with people in the area, they're not opposed to building more housing. What they're concerned about is traffic and parking spaces, right? And so what I've also been telling people is like, okay, like this is clearly going to be a problem because we're going to have to build the housing units, but we also need to be investing in robust public transit because there are only so many parking spaces that'll go around. Like we've already widened the 405 about as much as it's going to get widened. So we need to be looking at alternatives such as light rail, right? Like trolleys, like a better bus system. If you overlay a public transit map of Orange County over my district, it has like one transit hub near the very north part of like Lake Forest. That's it. Like there really aren't any public transit options. So a lot of people, they don't have the opportunity to see what good public transit looks like. So that's one of the big things that I'd really like to push as a proactive solution to when we do start building these units. And then another really big concern is the environment. So the district covers 4 coastal cities, Seal Beach, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, and Laguna Beach. And all 4 of those cities are experiencing coastal erosion. So whether it's erosion of bluffs or of the beaches, like that's something that we have to deal with because it's very hard to be a beach city and attract people if you don't have a beach. Like it's difficult.
Yeah,
like, no one's going to want to come
I would
there.
think so. Yeah.
Right. And then the 4 inland cities, Laguna Hills, Laguna Woods, Lake Forest, and Aliso Viejo, fire safety is a very big concern for them because they're right next to Crystal Cove State Park, as well as canyons in Laguna and Aliso. And so everyone there saw what happened up in LA with the Palisades fire and the fire, right? And it's very, very good chances that something like that could happen in the district if we don't proactively take care of those areas. So that means making sure that we have, fire crews going out, cleaning brush, making sure we're hardening buildings, making sure we have resources available to where if a brush fire does start up, we can get it under control very quickly. So those are really kind of the big issues that people are looking at.
What about AI? I know you mentioned it. Karen said you had it on your website.
Yeah. So AI is another huge issue, and that's more for the younger crowd, and particularly in public education, right, as well as in the workforce, because a lot of college age kids and young professional adults, like they're seeing AI get shoved into their either education space or their workplace, and it hasn't helped their lives. In most cases, it's made their lives way worse. And so I'm not against artificial intelligence that works, because there are some niche cases where it does work very well. Stuff like novel medical research, predicting weather, that it works really well there. Parsing large data sets. AI is very good in these, again, particular niche cases. But what we're seeing is that these companies know they're in a bubble. They know that bubble's going to burst. And so they're trying to shove AI into every aspect of public life. So that way, when the bubble does burst, they're going to come hands out for a bailout. And we have to deny that. Like, we cannot bail out these AI companies when the bubble bursts, because they made a bet and they lost.
That's right. That's right. What about the data centers? Now, is California, do you have a lot of the data centers? In Texas, we have a lot of them, and it's a real problem here.
Yeah, so California, we're definitely seeing a rise in data centers being built. None are being built, at least to the best of my knowledge, in my district. But that's what I would be looking at as more of like a statewide concern, is that I definitely think we need a moratorium on data centers, because we've seen they're driving up electricity bills, they're sucking up water, and California is already going to have a water issue because the Colorado's drying up. Our agriculture uses a ton of that water, and a lot of it is to grow crops that aren't necessarily the best crops that should be grown in that climate, right? Like almonds take a crap ton of water, and I know the climate's good for growing them, and I know you make a lot of money growing them, but if we're drying up the Colorado to grow them, maybe we shouldn't be growing them.
Well, and the bees, people, and it hurts the bees. Yeah. So I think that's another big one. Data center issues, I think there is that growing consensus, and it's a bipartisan consensus, right?
It's very bipartisan.
Want these things. Yeah.
Right. No, all Democrats should be running against data centers.
Absolutely.
Right now.
Yeah. My son actually went to school, got his bachelor's in graphic design. And that was at the beginning of the pandemic. And he had a year paid internship, and he cannot find any work. And it's because AI.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And the bigger problem with AI in terms of like the creative stuff that they've done is that they've robbed us, like as humanity, as a species. These AI companies have robbed us of our heritage, and then now they're trying to sell it back to us. And it's slop. Like, AI does not create anything new. It's a pastiche of stuff that it mixes together. And then, most of the time it doesn't even look correct. Like, on first glance, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess, because your eye fills in a lot of blanks. But then
it always looks weird. It looks weird.
Right? Yeah. It's got
wrong.
this. Yeah. And the thing I love is that it has this like sort of like greasy brown patina to it. Like, you can tell it's just got this like AI like, crap sheen on it.
I can tell AI. There's some people I know that actually fall for it all the time.
I'm not going to lie. I have fallen for it. My kids corrected me, though. Yeah, they did. They said, Mom, that's AI.
And so that's the thing, though, is that we need to make sure that we're not shaming people for falling for AI. We need to make sure we're educating them, right? Because it is a normal human reaction to trust what someone sends you. Like, especially if it's like a family member or a friend or, someone in a community group, like you trust those people to give you stuff that you think is the truth. And so that's why we have to push back so hard against the AI stuff, because it is degrading the idea of truth and honesty itself. It's allowing us to move into a post-truth society, which is not a good society.
Yeah. And what about, I worry about like with education. I've heard about kids just using AI to write research papers and things like that.
Right. And so it's a huge problem in schools right now. Like, and it's both from the kids' side, because they're not actually learning, right? If the machine does everything, you're not building those mental muscles you need to learn how to learn. And then from the grading side, from like the teacher and professor side, it's making it so they can't trust their students, right?
Right.
Like this, teachers aren't there to collect a paycheck and sit in the room. They're there to try to help people learn. Like they have a passion for what they're doing. And these AI tools are essentially gutting our education system because we're going to have a generation that doesn't know how to learn. And that's a huge problem.
And don't know how to research things and don't know how to tell if something's a good source. And there's so many things, critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, well, that's why responsible AI regulation is on one of my top 3 priority agendas.
Well, good. Yeah.
It has to happen. Okay, so now I want to ask you a question. What do you think about billionaire football team owners?
You're talking about, who are you talking about, Karen? Who are you going to talk about?
What do you think about those guys going and buying land to build stadiums, and then threatening to move the stadium across the border? You know, what do you think about that whole situation?
Yeah, so I think the existence of billionaires is a policy failure in itself. That billionaires should not exist. Simply as an idea, if a billionaire exists, it means something has gone wrong in our society. Because no individual should be able to wield that amount of power and be unaccountable to other people.
No, I think we should have hold on, I'm just going to say this real quick. I think, and I know Karen knows I'd come up with this idea, that we should have a billionaire island where when somebody becomes a billionaire, we ship them off to this island. And it'd be like Hunger Games. And we'll give them some
to go golf
bootstraps.
coach it, see what happens.
Yeah. And let them fight it out and we'll watch them.
Reality TV. That's reality TV right there.
Yeah, and so honestly, I think actually what the problem there is that we're seeing that people have a problem with hoarding, right? And in this particular case, it's wealth hoarding. And if I had my way, I would have in the DSM the definition of wealth hoarding as a mental disorder, because it's clear that for these people, there will never be enough. They have to keep getting more and more and more and more. And like, I would love to just ask someone like Elon Musk, when is it enough? Because I don't think he'd be able to answer that question.
What more can they buy? What more can you buy? They say that after you make a certain amount of money, I don't remember how much it is, 150,000, something like that. And then there's no difference in your, how happy you are than if you're
exactly
a millionaire. Go ahead.
Or a trillionaire in his case.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, I know in America, people are like, don't like to talk about money, right? It's part of our kind of Lutheran background and, cultural American background. But like, one of the things I try to make a point of telling people is that, look, I played in the NFL, right? I made about $4.5 million after taxes throughout my career. And so I invested that long term. We live modestly. We live in a house 1.5 miles from the beach in Southern California. And we are set for life like that. Right. We are living the American dream.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's only $4.5 million. Like, so when you see these, right. Like, and I'm not against people making more than others. Like, I'm not against rewarding hard work, but when it comes at the expense of other people's livelihoods, when it comes at the expense of society itself, I think that's when we collectively need to be able to step in and say, no, what you're doing is harming everyone. And eventually it's going to harm you because you're fraying the social fabric and people are going to get fed up. I mean, like there's a reason that the French Revolution happened.
Yes.
It's because the massive amount of wealth inequality. And all of a sudden the peasants were like, you know what? We got nothing to lose. Let's start repossessing some castles.
They could eat cake.
Right. Yeah. And I don't want us to get to that point. Like I want us to have a healthy, thriving society. And when you look back at American history, the most prosperous period in American history was right after World War II, when the marginal tax rate was right around 90%.
It went up to 94%. I say it all the time. Keynesian economics is the only thing that's been successful in this country.
You're taking away Anita's dream of the billionaire island.
Yeah, that's true. No, we can still send them to the billionaire island, and they can just sit there. But we do, we do Keynesian economics, and
right. So actually, what we should do is like after they pass, 100 million or whatever it is, we should be like, okay, now for every 100 million more you make, you don't get the money, but you can name a building or a bridge. Or
a street. No. When they get sent to Billionaire Island, they have to give up all their money.
Right.
They can't take it with them. I've got this all planned out.
Oh my god.
So but they'll be given boots. No bootstraps.
Yep. Right.
No
Yeah.
bootstraps.
No bootstraps. Yeah. Have to try to lift themselves up. But yeah, no, and again, I really think that is one of the root causes of the issues that we're facing today is we do have such a broad wealth inequality gap. And it's, it's causing so much damage to our society. And until we fix that and address it, then we're just putting band-aids on a gaping wound. Like we have to address the root cause of the issue. And the root cause is wealth inequality and the fact that people aren't paying their fair share. Like everyone needs to pay their fair share.
Yeah. It seems so simple, and yet it seems
It is so simple.
Yeah.
But we started dismantling that system that was working successfully with Ronald Reagan in 1980.
Yeah, thanks, Reagan.
Yeah, right.
You.
Everything.
It's funny because my daughter says it now. She goes, "It's all Ronald Reagan's fault." I mean, she just came home and said that, and I was like, "Yeah, you're right." You
can see so many charts where it's like, where does the bad stuff start happening?
Yes.
Yeah.
Elected.
Well, they started dismantling the New Deal, and and so cut tax rates down to like 29% at one point, and then I mean, it was crazy. So we have to get back to fair taxation.
Yeah,
Right.
I think the Green New Deal, and
Yeah,
let's do it. I think that would actually do a lot to bring us back. And we just need to be able to, like you were saying, Chris, appeal to the independent voters that sit out elections or vote, whichever way they feel. So now are you finding when you're speaking to people that there are some swayable folks that are either Republican or independents?
Mainly independents. My goal with like the small C conservative Republicans in the district is to hopefully just have them not vote for my opponent because like I recognize that my district leans conservative. So by voter registration, it's 8 points Republican. So this is a conservative district, but it also does have a large amount of independent, no party preference people, and a lot of those Republicans are more they're fiscal Republicans, right? Like they're not necessarily Trumpers. They're like, oh yeah, we want to make sure we have lower taxes and maybe don't build as many houses, but like those are policy things that we can argue about and come to agreement on. And so the thing is if they want to run a principled conservative for the seat, I'm not opposed to that, and that person will probably win the seat because that's that kind of is what the district is. But if they're going to run a MAGA person, like no, we can't afford that. Like
but principled conservatives are what got us here. I mean, we didn't start out with MAGA.
Yeah,
exactly. And so the thing is that I want to make sure that the entirety of the district is represented, not just one particular group. And then I also want to make sure that the district is getting money back from the state because our previous representative, she's a Republican. I don't agree with her on a lot. Her name's Diane Dixon, but she was at least in the room and able to, work bipartisanly with members of the Democratic supermajority in California. My opponent will not be in the room where those decisions are being made. And it's going to be really hard to get money from Sacramento back to the district if you're unable to talk with the people who are in charge of passing the budget.
Yeah. That's true.
You have to, there has to be a certain amount of practicality and pragmatism in the conversation. So, all right. So we're going to wrap it up here, but where can people learn about you? Where can people support you? Donate. I donated $50.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I need to do that. Yes, I need to do that.
Yes. So, so if people want to check out the campaign, the website is www.kluweoc.com. So my last name, KLUWEOC for Orange County.com. And then that'll show you all my, campaign positions. It has a bunch of stuff where like I'm in the media, doing speeches and things like that. We have a list of all the endorsements. I have a ton of endorsements from like.
You have a lot of endorsements.
Yes.
You have a lot of good endorsements.
Yeah,
thanks.
Yeah.
And so, and then obviously, like unfortunately, campaigns require money at our current point in time. I would love to move towards publicly financed elections.
Absolutely, yes,
and
absolutely.
Get money out of politics, but we're not there yet. So yeah, if people can contribute, I appreciate it. If you can't contribute but you still want to help out, there's a volunteer sign up portion on the website. And even if you're out of state, you can still phone bank. You can write postcards for us. Like that's, I say, I don't like, I'll appreciate your money, but I want your time. Like, because that's how we win elections is having those conversations with people, knocking on doors, talking with your friends, talking with your family members, and just letting them know, hey, this is someone who is going to try to fix things, to make things better for you and your family. And let's give it a shot. Like, let's try to actually make government work for us, and then I can go back to being happily retired.
There you go. Exactly.
I worked really hard to get there.
You're such an admirable person, Chris. I mean, seriously, the way you've always stood up for the underdogs and stood up at that, when I saw you getting arrested at that city council meeting, I was just really just blown away. So thank you for coming and talking to us. It was just such an honor.
Very much. And I'm going to sign up for postcards. I'm going to be writing here in Illinois, so I will do that because I love writing postcards.
Yeah, and again, if I can leave your listeners with anything, it's that, like, the main reason I fight for other people is because that's what I want someone to do for me. Like, if I'm in trouble, I want someone to fight for me. So if I'm in a position to do it for someone else, then I have to do it, because otherwise, how can I expect your help? Like, and if we all look out for each other, we can take care of each other.
Better world, that's for sure.
Place.
Yes, as Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers, right?
That's right. Always do what Mr. Rogers said.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Live your life like Mr. Rogers wants you to.
Right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Chris. We really, really appreciate it, and keep up the good work. And we will definitely put links to your campaign website and encourage everybody to donate, give their time, and best of luck to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Anita. I really appreciate you having me on.